Well, hi, everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal, and it is Sunday, and therefore it is Soul Sunday time. Welcome to everybody, both right here on the chat or those who might be watching it on the replay. We always love that. By the way, we've had people who've watched the replays or just not got themselves involved in the chat at all for months, and we just love it. The fact that they find that benefit and can do that, that's awesome. Hi there, Jody. You know, for those of you who don't know, we do 3 broadcasts a week. One is on Friday lunchtime. This is Pacific time. And that's our skills one. Excuse me. That's our skills one. We do another one 7 o'clock Pacific time on a Friday, and that is our laughter one. And then we do this one at 3:30 to 5 on a Sunday, and it's our let's just relax and get ready for the coming week one. And the reason I have 3 completely different ones is because I believe they're the 3 pillars of happiness. Number 1, keep on learning. And number 2, keep on laughing. And number 3, remember to relax and regroup. I sometimes have to do that by the hour. I don't know about the rest of you. Sometimes just once a day isn't enough. I need to do it by the hour, and sometimes even more than that. It depends what's going on. I thought I would take a number of different quotes for today, but I wanted to start on some quotes from Maya Angelou about courage, because I think part of loving ourselves is to actually give ourselves credit that we are more courageous than we actually tell ourselves. And sometimes life pushes us to the extent where we have to see that we actually are more courageous than we gave ourselves credit for. And Maya said, one isn't necessarily born with courage, but one is born with potential. Without courage, we cannot practice any other virtue with consistency. We cannot be kind, true, merciful, generous, or honest. Do you understand that? We can't do any of those things without courage. It takes courage to be truthful. Would you agree? It takes courage to be merciful. You have to think beyond yourself. It takes courage to be generous when maybe you need this more than somebody else does. And it definitely takes courage to be honest. So I thought that was a great, great quote to start our day. She said that the quality of strength, lined with tenderness, is an unbeatable combination. The quality of strength lined with tenderness. You see, we do need to be stronger than we want to admit. We prefer to be pathetic sometimes. Do any of you relate to that? It's easier just to be pathetic because then everybody else fixes everything for you. And I think that is one of the greatest signs of growing up and of emotional intelligence, where you stop playing that game, when you realize that you are now an adult. And as an adult, you are responsible for your stuff. Doesn't mean you can't have help, but it means that you fix it, not somebody else. All right, and she also said this, that a woman in harmony with her spirit is like a river flowing. She goes where she will without pretense and arrives at her destination, prepared to be herself and only herself. You know, it takes great self-love to accept who you are. It takes, I think, great self-love to have the courage to present who you are to the world rather than who you pretend to be that is not really who you are. And so to me, being who you are and finding out that you are quite lovable as you are is a huge act of courage. Some of us learn it later in life. Some of us never bother to be anybody else. But you all have your experience of that. And she also said this. She said, if you're always trying to be normal, you will never know how amazing you can be. Whenever anybody tells me, well, this is normal, and I just look at them and I go, I have never really wanted to be normal. It's never been high on my list, Oh, yeah, I want to be normal. I'd like to be exceptional, or unusual or different or, whatever it is. I wonder if any of you relate to that. But, normal? I don't know why normal to me sounds quite boring. So even if I go to the doctor and they say, well, this is normal, I go, yeah, I never wanted that. So if you're always trying to be normal, you will never know how amazing you can be. All right. And so step outside normal. That's not, I don't think we're born to be normal. I believe each and every one of us is born to be unique. And we're unique in different ways. And that's what's the magic of it, is that each one of us brings different things to the world. All right, how about this one? Some of you will relate to this one. We may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated. How about that one? We may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated. You see, we win some, we lose some. That's life. That's balance. That's the way that it is. And so if you lose some and can still hold your head up high, if you can lose some and still see that the world is great, might not have been quite the way you wanted it, but how many of you have found out that sometimes the way you wanted it wasn't the best way? And by the way, for those of you who have birthdays coming up this week, I am sorry I don't know about them. And I want to say that because we're still redoing parts of the website and the calendar still hasn't been put up again yet. And so if you have got a birthday coming up this week, I am so sorry if I don't acknowledge it. Please don't take it personally, and please let me know if you've got one coming up so that I can at least wish you a happy birthday. That would be awesome. And if you know of anybody's birthday coming up this week, please let me know. That would be awesome. It's just like, it's amazing how lost you feel when you're used to going, okay, I know when everybody's birthday is. I just have to go to the website and check it out on the calendar. And then the calendar's not working. How about this one? That in diversity, there is beauty and there is strength. In diversity, in our differences. How many of you have noticed that what is wonderful? I was actually, funny enough, Beth, I was just going to talk about you. And happy birthday to Peanut, wherever Peanut may be at this time. I hope that Peanut's busy playing with Bean Bean. But Peanut would have been 20 today. Wow, what an incredible age. I don't know many dogs that live to 19. I've always thought that if they live to 15, that's pretty remarkable. So in diversity, there is beauty and there is strength. I really do believe that all the different personalities that we have in the extended family that is called Dear Mama Sal. It is our very diversity that makes us interesting. It is our very diversity that makes us better. Beth, I think about you so often in terms of you and your protein boxes. That you kept mentioning that you were going to pick up a protein box. And I'm going, what on earth is she talking about? Until one day I said it one time too many and said, I better find out. And I went and researched it and went, hey, that doesn't look too difficult. I could make those. And you changed my life. And it's really quite funny because it is that simple, isn't it? Sometimes that somebody just has to keep saying something about themselves. Oh, Beth's laughing because she's eating one now. What's in today's protein box, Beth? But it's funny, Beth, because even when I go shopping now, I go, have I got enough for my protein box? And you know what concerns me, though, and I've got to say this, and perhaps those of you who have more knowledge than I can help me on this one, but I'm thinking I'm eating an awful lot of the things that they told me not to eat for my heart health. But I'm presuming that if my resting heart rate is absolutely fine, which it is, that, this isn't an issue. But I hope I'm right. Let me know what you know. I found that a number of us have had, with the change of season, with the change of whatever's going on, even Mercury in retrograde, I find that carbs are coming up big time, and I've got to wean myself off them again. I think what Maya also said so often was, still I rise. Regardless of what is attacking me, still I rise. And I think it's a wonderful mantra for us all to have, regardless of what's going on with my home, and trying to sell it, still I rise above that and make my life as joyous as I can within that, regardless of what, else is going on with my family and friends, still I rise. Or regardless of what is going on within the Dear Mama Sal world, still I rise. And I wonder if any of you can feel that, what Maya was getting at in that. She also said that nothing can dim the light which shines from within. I wonder if you've ever seen, you've met somebody and their light just shines. You know what I mean? It's just like you get near them and you can just feel their light, that they have this being that is perhaps beyond the norm. And who wants to be norm? Unless you're in Cheers. So, as I look at these, I think to myself, courage is a wonderful thing. Courage is a wonderful thing if you understand that we all need it at different times, right? Maya said that you may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. Not to be reduced by them. All right, so Jodi's saying, in terms of what I was saying in terms of proteins, Jodi's saying that she has read that eggs are okay daily for most people, especially when the carbs are kept on the lower side. What would that be, Jodi? What would you consider the lower side to be? What percentage? And you know me well enough to know that I like that reality check. You know, I need to know. Okay, this is what I need to get back to. And I wonder how many of you actually do keep track of your carb intake. I find it interesting that yesterday I had a real craving to make some carrot cake cupcakes. So instead of making the whole batch, I actually took 1/3 of the mix and mixed up 1/3 of it and made 4, which are no longer in my house. They are in my stomach. Because I knew if I made more than 4, I'd probably eat more than 4. But it was so funny because, again, I think back to Beth and what Jody has taught me as well, which is when I'd finished the 4, I went, that was really good. Now then, you need protein to balance that out. And you need it in, quite a bit of it because you had 4, they were fairly small cupcakes, but even so, you guys have taught me well. And we're going to do a little bit more about things happening for a reason, because I think, again, that part of understanding and loving ourselves is to understand that we do not control everything. We would like to, but we actually cannot. And so when you feel down in this world, just remember that everything happens for a reason. We may not understand it today, but it is for sure a reason. It was said that you are on your own in this. You decide what happens in your life. You are the cause of it all. Beth, that quote really reminded me of you taking charge of the fact that you knew that holding down that manager's job as well as doing a second job was too much for your body. And therefore you gave up being a manager. I think that took great courage and great self-care. Yeah, Beth is saying that her co-workers are driving her nuts, but they're digging their own graves. Yes, and I think the difficulty is, Beth, and always will be for you, is you have very strong ethics, you have work ethic, you have a very strong sense of what's right and wrong. You have a very strong responsibility, self-responsibility factor in you. And therefore, when you work with people who actually don't give a damn, as they say, it must be so difficult for you. Right. And, it must be so difficult for you to detach and let them dig their own graves. And, I wonder how often people will say things like, well, it's not fair. And in a way, it's not fair to you that you can see what is happening and you are no longer in a management position or your senior management position to be able to fix it. But you are still in an assistant manager's position, if I understand it correctly. So you still can fix it. But, like everything else, I really do believe, Beth, that this is all learning for you, right? That all these things are there for your learning. We are all part of the universe, and sometimes our destinies entangle with each other. How about that? Sometimes our destinies entangle with each other. I sometimes think that is so true of us as we, have this extended family of people. Wow. So the new store manager said not to recover. I don't know what recover is. Okay. And clean up the store tonight. She is 19, and boy, oh boy, the district manager is going to be mad. I have it in a text from her not to clean the store. That sounds insane to me, as it probably did to you. Oh, recover is like if there's a gap, you just bring other product forward. So that the frontage of each shelf looks full. That's what recover is. Thank you. I learned something today. All right. So Jody's saying, I'm not sure what the exact cutoff level for carb percentage. I would imagine about 50 grams a day. I believe that it did not need to be at keto level for lowering carbs, just a standard American diet. Okay, Jody, I'm going to have a look now. See what I did yesterday. So it isn't just that I balanced it. It was just like the carbs were. Okay, let me see what they were yesterday. Thank you for that information. I'm not sure I necessarily want it, though, if you know what I mean. What were my carbs yesterday? Okay. 50 grams a day. I had 3 times that. I had 160 carbs yesterday. Grams of carbs. 161.6 to be exact. Okay, I've got to do some serious rethinking. Beth's saying she does 100 grams of carbs a day. Interesting. Yeah, do some more research, please, Jody. Yeah. Okay, so now we've learned something, all right? In fact, 2 things. We've learned what recover is in store shelves, and now we know that oh, never mind. Everything in this life happens because of something. I seriously believe that to be true, all right? So whatever it is, Beth, I believe that you needed some time to be a manager to find out that your body just didn't, support you to do that. It wasn't you couldn't do the job. It is that your body, doesn't need to take that much stress. And I think that is a wonderful thing when you can see that and appreciate it. We just have to trust in a higher being when our life is in a mess, that there is a reason for it all. I will find out in the next 24 hours probably whether the deal on my house collapses. And if it does, my life will be in a little bit of a mess. Not only because it was a great deal, and still is at the moment, but because it will mean that the person I really wanted to have my house won't be having it necessarily. But, I was so, you meet some people and you go, wow, that is just the right person for my house. I just know, I can feel enough about her energy to know she will love it here, the same as I have. And, I would be so sad if she misses out, but I will understand as well. And I'm still praying that everything goes in the right direction as it should. All right, so Jody is updating us. The standard American diet can translate into 220 to 325 carbs a day. Oh, so my 161 isn't too horrific then. Not good, but not horrific. Good. I definitely was short on vegetables this week. I can feel that. You know what I mean? I really felt that there wasn't enough color in the stuff I was eating. When I say enough color, I always try to go, do my meals have reds and yellows and greens in them? You know what I mean? If I've got enough color, then the chances are I'm eating well. When we are not wise to see why to a situation, let us close our eyes and keep on praying. It's interesting. I have found that asking why sometimes is the instant insanity. Instant insanity, because really, do we really need to know why? It just is what it is. And if we can deal with it just is what it is, and I need to deal with this reality, it is really important. Yeah, Jodie's saying that her carbs have crept up recently too. Yes, it's interesting. I wonder whether it is because of the change of daylight savings time has that effect on our bodies. I am horrified to see I've put back all the weight that I lost. But it is what it is. And I do understand that some of it is totally stress related. Hi there, Erin. How are you doing, honey? Thank you so much for popping in. And we send our thoughts and prayers to you. I know it's been a tough week for you. Maybe some doors are meant to be locked. Maybe they're not meant to be opened by you or me. We often have trouble with things when we should just let all of that fall into the right place. I think we are so fortunate to be able to see the reality. I wonder whether Erin has found the same thing this week as well. Erin, have you found that your eating has not been as under control because of the change in daylight savings time? I wonder whether it actually does. And Jody, let's keep a track on that. I want to say, is it psychosomatic, but not so much that is it because the daylight has changed that our eating automatically changes with it? It'd be interesting to know that. You see, the best thing that we can do is to live in the moment that we are in, to just do today's stuff. And somebody once said, they say that no mistakes are done because those are meant to happen. I say, you make your life. You are the one in control of the life you were given. So I suggest you use it as wisely as you can. Now, doesn't that say it all? That we are in charge of the life that we were given, and we are responsible for living it as wisely as we possibly can. Even though bad things may befall you, remember they are there to teach each of us a lesson. Hi, Nada. Good to see you. Oh, we're sorry to hear you're sick, Nada. For those of you on the replay, Nada's saying, hello, friends. Been a while. I'm sick, and I thought I'd pop in between naps and soup. Yeah. Do you know, that is such a poetic way of wording it, Nada. You know, I think we can all, visualize that moment between naps and soup when you're sick. Um, that to me, that is such a creative person that can word it that way. Yeah, nice one. Make a lovely title for a book, don't you think? Between naps and soup. Mm. Nada, in the day when I was writing speeches, I would use that as the title of the speech because so many things happen between naps and soup while you're sick. Right? And I could write a whole speech about how sometimes it is fleeting. The time span between a nap and soup, it can be fleeting, but sometimes it can take forever. And isn't life like that? I could really, I'm not joking. I can feel inside myself. There's a whole speech behind that if you want it to be. You see, don't blame somebody else for what is happening because everything happens for a reason. All right. We don't need to blame why hasn't my house sold yet? Yeah, I don't want to blame anybody for that. It just hasn't. Um, it isn't about blame, is it? It's just reality. It will eventually. There will be betrayal in life, but blame the act, not the person. Find out the cause, why it happened. I wonder how many of you have unfortunately been betrayed in your lifetime. I know I have a couple of times. And it's like I really did quite a number on myself, that I was stupid enough to fall for that. And yet, when I look back now, I realize it was all part of learning for me. Ah, that's interesting. So Erin is saying, yes, she is totally stress eating as well. In a way, we want to thank you, Erin, but not sure if it's because of the time change or just because of the stress and the possibility of big change. Yeah, something that is what I'd be interested in. But I found it. The reason I asked you, Erin, because I know you're under stress and yeah, you see, and Nada as well. So myself, Jody, Erin, and Nada all went into stress eating. Isn't that interesting? Well, the good news is you're not alone. And the second good piece of news is that you're doing it, which is half the battle. And so now the question is, what do you want to do about it? I'm going to have to not have to, I'm going to choose to reframe my whole eating again, sad as it is. But the thing that I found fascinating, and Jody, I have to thank you because even though I was eating more, I still, for some reason, was managing to keep my carbs around the 50% mark. And that really was what I worked hard to maintain. But I definitely would like to drop it quite a bit. So interesting stuff, everybody. And, what do we need to let go of in order to change that? I would say we need to let go of the stress. And the stress isn't stressing out about these things is not going to change anything. What we do will change that. Getting help will change that. I know what Erin's stress is about. And actually, interesting, Jody saying your blood sugar, that my blood sugar has been so well managed. I actually No, it's higher than it has been, but I'm not surprised. Only Erin could say this. Take a moment, everybody, enjoy this. Erin says, somebody who looks a lot like me may have eaten 2 apple pies from McDonald's today, and I'm not sorry. Do you mean the small ones, or do you mean 2 apple pies, literally? Or do you mean the small ones? Well, they're even smaller. They're about that size. So answer me small or big, Erin. Big would be a whole pie. But again, isn't that beautiful? Somebody who looks a lot like me may have eaten 2 apple pies from McDonald's. You know, the funny thing is, Erin, I don't think I have eaten anything from McDonald's since I got diagnosed as pre-diabetic. Interesting. It is said that you should never have any regrets. And that's what eats most people up in this world, regrets and more. And Nada is saying, that's great, Erin, it made my day. I want to tell you, it's like the same thing as between naps and soups. And Erin's comment about the person who looks a lot like her, had 2 apple pies from McDonald's. I mean, that's what makes it all possible. Does it, excuse me, does it change what we had? No, but at least it lightens it a little. So Erin's saying, so I'm definitely in good company, just looking into whether, you're definitely moving. All right, so what day will you be moving, Erin, so that we can keep, aware? That means Jody. And so Jody, can keep track of it for me. Hang on a second. This is like, so you're trying to fix your chair before committing to a moving date. They want to make sure they can make me comfortable in your chair. What is wrong with your chair, honey? And what does it take to fix it? When things seem to be calming down, maybe the reason for why it happened will soon appear. Okay. So keep thinking those positive thoughts. You're in the same situation as my friend as well, Nada. So hugs and good wishes to you. Yeah, keep finding those options. When you've got options, life is not as stressful. How about this one? You may be vulnerable now, but when someone lies to you, you learn not to trust anyone else. How do you feel about that? Do you find that if one person lies to you or betrays you, that you cannot trust anybody? Have any of you had experience of that? I know that I have. And in the older me, older as in some time ago me, hi, Vonnie. Vonnie's bringing me my treat. Thanks, sweetie. Isn't that kind of her? Now we wait. If I hold it, it will be ready sooner.
Oh, it's been sitting about 10 minutes since I've been home, so
it's still not ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Nada. I appreciate that. Beth is saying, yes, I am cautious now, right? And Erin was saying about the apple pie. She's saying, I was only going to eat one and save the other one, but it was staring at me. And I have no willpower when it comes to food that is in front of me. And it's mine. You know something? That's why I made 4 small cupcakes yesterday, was because I knew if I made more, I would have eaten more. It's interesting. Yeah, and so I'd like to talk a little bit about that trust. Maybe, Jody, can you make a note for me to add that to my list of topics to talk about? Trust is a really interesting thing, isn't it? But you know, if we do not trust people, we will not live a happy life. All right. At some level, we do need to trust people. We also need to know that some people will not hold that trust dear. Yes, Beth has the ultimate answer in that, which is I just go with trusting my gut. And I trust myself more than anyone. Wow. And that is really what loving yourself is all about. All right, so Erin is saying she doesn't know what day she's going to be moving yet. Yeah. And I'm glad to hear that they want to make sure that your chair is fixed and you are safe and comfortable before they actually move you. I think that's wonderful, Erin. I like people who care about you that much. It can be that things seem to be falling apart right now. But do not worry, they will go back into place. I like that. Right? And success is not short of a miracle, but the product of hard work and determination. How many of you agree with that one? That success is actually the result of hard work and determination. It's not luck. Luck doesn't make you successful. Luck may shorten the time frame, but it doesn't make you successful. I'm just going to have to wait a bit longer. And you all know I don't want to. It's so good. For those of you wondering, this is a Frosty in here, and I need it to thaw a little bit before I can enjoy it, which is good for me. It is said that you deserve what you get. And some of you are going, why did I deserve illness? Why did I deserve this? I really don't know. That is a discussion I'm waiting to have with somebody, a lot wiser than I am. All right, so you need a new sort of seating arrangement on your chair to keep the pressure sore away. All right. So how long will you need to be seated for to move? I learned a lot about those sort of seating arrangements from Lauren, and about Lauren has an air pack thing on her chair. I'm not sure what you have, and I've heard about the gel packs and stuff like that. So it's interesting to me, people who have to be in a wheelchair or on a gurney of some sort to move is really important. Jody's saying she's hearing the old jingle from the ketchup commercial and anticipation. I can't remember that jingle. Probably if I heard it, I would. Hi, Jamie. Good to see you. So, it's really interesting to hear that, Erin. And, let us know if there's anything that we can do to help you in that. Put up a good word or, let us know how we can support you in getting what you need. Just like you have a purpose in life, or you are finding it, there are also reasons why things happen. All right? And some of us, wonder, what is my purpose in life? And I do believe your purpose in life is to be happy. Isn't that interesting? If you honestly believed that your purpose in life was to be happy, what would you change? Give me some feedback on that. If your purpose in life is to be happy, what would you change about your current life? Thanks, Erin. I appreciate you doing that for me. Erin, and if you have to raise money to get that done or anything that I might be able to put up the word for you, let me know. We might not be able to do a lot, but we might be able to do a little, if you know what I mean, to help you. Yeah, how, if you really believe that your only purpose in life was to be happy, if that's what God's wish for you was, I just wonder what you would change. And because if that is one mantra I would give to you, that it would be that live your life as that way. What do I need to be happy right now? And do I have more than enough to be happy right now? And I say this so often when I wake up choking and spluttering for breath at night, sometimes, even with my CPAP machine. I just, every time that I realize what has happened and that I obviously was choking to death, I keep going, I am so happy that I woke up. It's like I want to be happy about that. Not think about, oh, I nearly died. I go, no, I'm so happy I woke up. The same thing. It's like there are so many things to be happy about if we choose to. This is a pretty powerful one if you want to really look after yourself. It says, never let anyone have power over you in a way you do not want them to. You can do better. Wow. So whatever it is that needs to be fixed for Erin, she's saying she's been waiting for 2 years and they're actually going to start doing it on Thursday. Wonderful. All right. Because there is a need now that they can see. Well done, Erin. Let us know how it goes. I'm so happy for you that it's going to start happening. When you learn to look on the brighter side of life, things get a whole lot better. How many of you have found that? That when you look on the brighter side of life, everything starts to look a whole lot better. You know, there's part of me that, you know, noticed that I had over a week without any showings, and my house got a little untidy because of that. And I loved it. You know, it looked normal. Do you know what I mean? And now I realize that, you know, after this broadcast, I need to go cook a meal and then tidy the whole house up, ready for showings tomorrow and another one on Tuesday. And, you know, it was so funny because I thought, you know, part of me wanted to beat up on myself for making a mess. And I went, no, this is your house. You are allowed to make a mess every now and then, Sal. It's okay. You know, you are not a neat freak, and you never will be. And therefore, it was just getting very homely for you. Now it's time to put it back in show condition again. And, you know, the good news is that with so much stuff packed away, I can only make so much mess. It's a bit like that, you know, between naps and soup, you know. You know, it's like I can only make so much mess between showings. And, you know, aren't we lucky that we can see that? Oh, it's a new company and it can do some things. All right. And you don't want to wait around for your insurance. This place will do it for me. I will move and let them do it. Yay. Well done, Aaron. All right. So if you understood that your purpose in life is to be happy, Aaron is saying you would probably start focusing on things that really focusing on things that really matter to you. Sorry, Aaron, I'm just trying to reword what you said there. You really would start focusing on things that matter to you, not to everybody else, right? If you knew that was your purpose in life, and I would challenge you this week, really concentrate on, if my purpose in life is to be happy, what am I going to do about this? You know, one of the things that Jody and I always talk about, you know, because we talk every day, but we always talk about one step at a time. All right. Yes, there's so much to be done, but one step of it at a time will get us there. And, you know, it's like this morning I woke up and what was important was, you know, do I know what I'm going to be cooking in this evening? Yes, that's a good thing to know before the broadcast finishes. But, you know, the only other really important thing was to get ready for the broadcast. And then after the broadcast, I can concentrate on cooking. And after the cooking, I can concentrate on cleaning up the kitchen and the rest of my house and start getting ready for the showings. In between, when I was getting all that sorted out this morning, I did throw in a wash, but I didn't have time to take it out of the dryer. So what I did was I just sent a note down to Yvonne and said, if you need the dryer before I get there to empty it, just huck my things out of there. I will sort them out after the broadcast. You see, it's just a case of one step. I could get the wash in. I couldn't get it out in time, but I could get the wash in. And so I think I really challenge you all to keep asking yourself that this week, you know, if my mission in life is to be happy, what do I need to change? The same as Beth did, right? When she could see that the stress she was under, you know, was not making her happy. She might have been doing a really great job as a manager and undoubtedly fast-tracking her way onto area manager, but was it making her happy? You know, and the answer was no. Now, I can tell you, knowing Beth the way that I do, not being the manager of a store will also make her a little unhappy because she is no longer able to fix it. And she's a fixer. And she no longer will be able to see it done with love and and good management. But, you can't have it all, right? So I really thank you all for understanding that as we grow, as we get more emotional intelligence, as we learn to love ourselves more, things change. It was interesting because Jody has been planning a trip to go and see her father-in-law next week. And just when she had all the arrangements sorted out, there was news of a cold front coming in, quite a serious one. And so whereas she was totally happy about getting everything organized for the trip, suddenly it's not so happy because is there a risk? And Jody, you've also got a medical visit you have to have this week, right? And so, with the cold snap coming in, you're concerned about that. Did you make a decision about that? The quote here says, move one day at a time, and you will eventually get to where it is you want to get to in life. Isn't that true? So when you're thinking about if my only responsibility is to be happy, ask yourself after that, what one step can I make? First of all, what can I be grateful for that I already have? Because it is said we already have everything we need to be happy. But then after that, what one step can I take towards greater happiness for me? One step. If we can take one step every day towards our happiness, a greater happiness, it is wonderful. All right, so Jody's waiting until Tuesday to decide whether they take the trip to Maine or not. And hopefully you will be able to get there. Yeah. You're saying that at the moment it sounds like it's not going to be more than a couple of inches of snow, right? The other part of that, Jody, is I'd make sure, being who I am, I'd make sure that it was possible to stay a few more days if necessary. Do you know what I mean? If the weather suddenly turned nastier while you are, there, could you stay another couple of days, without too much trouble to wait out any bad weather? You, Lionel, and the fluff, right? Because, that perhaps would help as well. Take some of the fear away for you. That's a thought. There is a plan for everything. Every life in the world and everything happens for a reason. One of the things that I was so glad that Jody was taking this trip is she's going to get to see the ocean, and seeing the ocean is a great lift for Jody's spirit, even if she's seeing it in winter. But, so to me, I was really happy that she was going to make the trip to Maine. However, I've been to Maine. And I've also been to Maine in winter. But I do know that going to Maine in winter, I would rather do it now than later. There's no doubt about that. Because it takes a long time for it to get a lot better in Maine. It's they know winter, right? It's definitely what I call a winter state, as is most of New Hampshire as well. I think Maine and New Hampshire, they look so pretty on postcards, don't they? I can remember, when I went to Maine. Yes, exactly. Jody's saying the same thing. That's for sure, Sal. It's either now or March. Yes, That's what I was thinking. And, I just have memories, Jody, of actually having to shovel my way into the front door. You know what I mean? Because when they have snow later, not now, but later, when they have snow, it's not a couple of inches, it's a couple of feet. Now that is another complete way of life. And, to think I nearly went to live there full time. What was I thinking? I was in love. What can I say? Even when things get bad or worse, I hope that you will actually find a reason to smile. How about that? Like Nada being sick. It's between a nap and soup. I just love it. Or how many of us, can relate to Erin saying, I got 2 apple pies from McDonald's, one to have now and one to have later, but it was staring at me. I cannot believe any of us, we all can relate to that, right? It was like me. I had those, carrot cake cupcakes staring at me. How cruel could they be? Why didn't they just make their way into a closed, container into the fridge where I couldn't see them? Yeah, why were they sitting there staring at me like that? So, Erin, I totally related to that. And, I am not surprised that you didn't have any more apple pie left. I wonder, has anybody got any Halloween candy left? I still have some, but the only reason I have it is because it's down in my fridge in my garage, and that is not a place I want to go late at night because I could wake up the household, and it's a good place to hide stuff that I should not be eating. It would also be a good thing not to cook the things I should not be eating, but it's been a difficult week for me. And I really do need to remind myself, right, that perfection is not the answer here. What is it Jody always says to me? This is a marathon, not a sprint. Oh, Jody says that her Halloween candy ship has sailed. You got nothing left, Jody. You've eaten it all. I'm so surprised I still have some left. So it's good to know that I can actually, buy a box the way that I did and share it. I did a good job of sharing it with Yvonne and Wade. But I also have found out, and that's very important to make me happy, I have found out how much I can eat without a major sugar spike. It's very important to know. Why am I surprised I put on weight? It was Halloween, for goodness sake. People change. And you just have to accept that you cannot do anything about that at all. Right? People change. And hopefully you change as well. But how many of you have had friends that you have kept, for a lifetime? You probably were friends with them at school and you still are friends with them. Because that's amazing, because they will have changed so much and you will have changed so much. So what I would query is, what is it that you did to be able to keep those friendships? Erin's saying, you know how much you can eat without spiking your sugar. You must teach me how to do that. Erin, Jody taught me how to do that. And it's trial and error, quite honestly. I found out that I can actually, for example, I have a mantra, Erin. And the mantra is, if it's sweet, eat meat. In other words, if I've eaten something sweet, make sure I have protein to balance it. Now, the protein doesn't have to be meat. It can be eggs, it can be cheese, it can be, any of the proteins. But basically, if you've had something sweet, make sure that you have something nuts. Good one. Thanks, Beth. So that's what I do. So if I know I can have four mini chocolate bars, but after that I have at least 2 pieces of string cheese. Does that make sense, Erin? I don't have to have it immediately. I normally leave it about 15 minutes to really enjoy the taste of that chocolate, and then I go, okay, now it's time to balance it. I need to balance it. The other thing I do is I have deli ham. So I can, take a couple of pieces of deli ham. When I have the chocolate, I actually wrap the deli ham around the cheese, stringable cheese. I wonder if that makes sense, Erin. So I took a string cheese and wrapped deli ham around it and had a serious amount of protein to balance it. And it worked for the main part. I didn't do so well yesterday with my cupcakes, but considering I had 4 cupcakes with icing, I thought I did pretty well. Let me see what I did in terms of spiking my blood sugar. Yeah, I spiked it. It was my blood sugar was 7.3. Oh, that's in the Canadian. Jody knows how to convert that. So I went up a full point, went up to 8.5 this morning, but it would have been a lot worse than that if I hadn't had the cheese. So, it's like, it's really interesting. It's a juggling game. And Beth says, now I'm craving cupcakes. Thanks, Sal. Yeah, I'm kind like that, But I kept thinking carrot, if they got carrot in it, can't be all bad. And Beth? Okay, thanks. Jody's telling you that 7.3 was where I was yesterday. That's a 131.4. Okay. And how bad? Right, because that's in American, right? 131.4. Jody does a great job of understanding both official languages and that. Somewhere I did have a piece of paper that converted it for me, but do you think I can find that? Anyway, so the good news is, yeah, I spiked it, but I didn't spike it nearly as badly as I could have done. So I've got, and I meant to take a A1C test this month as well. What am I thinking? Every moment in life will teach you a lesson. If you are wise enough to figure out what it is. How many of you do that every night? Go, okay, what happened today? And then ask yourself, what was the lesson here? Yeah, Beth is saying Jody is equal to or even better than Google. I agree. She's magical. But and some people are just so good at research, right? That's their thing. They love it. They can do it in a heartbeat. So, and the same thing. She's as fast as a whip. I agree. And the other person like that is Yvonne. All right. I literally, Beth, I have been in meetings, with my bank or with other people, and they'll ask me, or my realtors, they'll ask me a really serious question about finances, or when was that renovation done or whatever, and I look at them and I go, yeah, I wouldn't be the one to ask. I'd ask Yvonne. And they go, what? And I go, no, Yvonne will know. I don't. I have no idea. Not only do I not have an idea, it would take me quite a while to find out. Whereas Yvonne has a photographic memory. She'll tell me, not only that it happened on November the 8th last year, but she'll tell me at 3:42. You know, she has that sort of a memory. How many of you are going, I'd love to have that sort of memory, right? Why would I waste my time? Yvonne remembers these things without even trying to. You know, and she will come to me every now and then and say, it's 5 years since Bean Bean died. And I go, thanks, Vonnie. I didn't know that, but she does. Or, you know, whatever. She has this ability to remember these things. Just incredible. And I am so grateful for it. You see, it's like I've only got 2 brain cells, but I can use Yvonne's brain cells whenever, you know, I get hold of her. Now, I do, you know, I'm not joking. I literally have been in a situation where I have texted her from a meeting somewhere and said, I'm being asked, you know, what day. Yvonne also does my accounts, by the way. So that's why she has better knowledge of things in some ways. Okay, so Beth is saying our Safe at Work has a 9-minute timer before we can open it. I will admit that today I missed the timer 3 times. Okay, so you tell it to open and it takes 9 minutes before it will. Is that correct? So that is in case there's a theft. It gives you 9 minutes to get hold of the police. Interesting. Wow, I didn't know that. So 3 times you told it to open, but in the 9 minutes you got distracted? Did I get that right? Thanks, Jody. I would totally understand that. Yeah. How many, you know, and Beth, you know, I pray you get to be my age, because if you do, you will also understand that it is amazing. I have got to the stage where I will be on one page on my browser and I will go to another page to do something. And when I get to the other page, I cannot remember for the life of me why I needed that second page. Then I have to go back again and then start. Oh, yeah, that was why. And then, you know, it's just like old timers, I guess, coming in slowly. But the good news is I still can remember, sort of. Jody's reminding me to do the timer. So here we go. Let's do that. For those of you who don't know what this is, we do a countdown because we do. It's what we do. 5 months and 3 days until Easter. For those of you like me who don't do winter well, I just want to tell you it's 229 days now until spring. Or if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, I'm thinking about Oz and Nolene and Farmer. By the way, Farmer was in an accident, for those of you who didn't hear that. And luckily, both he and the car survived. Beth is saying that she's got me beat. She paid rent last week and then forgot she paid it, so paid it again. I love that. Okay, so for those of you who enjoyed the turning the clocks back, you have 118 days until we have to, you know, lose an hour's sleep and turn them forward again. 118 days is not that far, right? For those of you who are romantic, you have got 3 months, 5 days, 19 hours, 15 minutes, and 6 seconds to work out what you're going to do for Valentine's Day. And for those of you who are doing Christmas, has anybody finished their Christmas shopping? I'm nearly finished, I think. I've still got probably one more trip and then I'm done. But no, it'll be more than one. But we have 44 days. And by the way, I would recommend if you've got overseas cards or gifts here, make sure that they go by the end of the month latest. For those of you in the States that celebrate Thanksgiving, you have just over 2 weeks left. You've got 17 days. And For those of you who've noticed that life has been going in a rather strange way in the last couple of things, couple of weeks, or the last week anyway, it's because Mercury is in what they call retrograde, and we only have a few more. I think it comes out of retrograde on the 20th, so life will be good after that. Life will change. And it is funny how the retrograde thing really does seem to affect in all reality. Now, it's also about now that I start telling you about what it is that I'm got planned for a meal. Today I'm doing something that I've never done before. Have any of you made crispy ramen noodles? And the reason I say that is because ramen noodles I don't cook very often, but I actually saw something where they were making crispy ramen noodles, and I thought that sounds so good. And I'm going to do ramen noodles, crispy ones, and then I'm going to have baby corn, the small corn, little corns, not the niblets, but the actual complete corn, but they're small. I'm going to do some of those and some green beans. And then I'm doing, green beans and almonds. And then I'm going to be putting some prawns on top that I'm going to cook on the barbecue. Chinese corn, is that what it's called? Thank you very much, Beth. I love it when you guys know these words. I think over the top of that, I will barbecue the prawns on my mat, and I will barbecue them in lemon and soy sauce. Those have very few carbs. They're baby corn, really. That's good to hear. And the ramen noodles, I'm certain, are not altogether healthy, but, I just thought that sounded so tasty for a change. Crispy, crunchy. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to try. I might even try and crisp them up on the barbecue, just because that would be an experiment. And you know me, I love experiments. So I might crisp those up while I'm doing the prawns on the barbecue. I'll let you know how it looks. If it looks good, then it'll be good, right? So I'm thinking I will cook them in lemon and soy sauce, and then some sesame seeds on top just before I serve them. I think that's good, right? So there we are. That's the day. Anybody got anything I need to remember for this week? And if you know of a birthday coming up, please let me know, because I cannot get to my calendar at the moment. For those of you who remember Matthew from way back when, he's busy helping me sort out some gremlins that I had in my website. And it's just taking a little while to get that all fixed. Well, Jodi's saying it sounds like an Instagram pic. We'll see how it looks. I'm thinking that in terms of color, we've got yellow. Maybe I put some red pepper. No, I haven't got red pepper. I got yellow pepper. Oh, maybe I will do some string carrots. Do you know what I mean with the stringing thing? Not even julienne. They're actually string. Make it like. Oh, I know what it was. I wanted to do spaghetti squash. Another yellow. Got to think about that. Got green for the beans. Yeah, it definitely needs carrots. It needs the orange, right, to get the balance of colors. So, and I think I might have some bok choy that I froze. So I might even pull that out and just warm that up on the barbecue. Nope, we got beans. Green is beans, so that's okay. I got that. So you understand what I try to think of is how many different colors can I get in there. So we'll see how it all looks when it all goes together. And I'll let you know whether it's worth trying or not. Okay, so in terms of if you already know that your only mission in life is to be happy. What are you going to do about that this week? Right? That's my question to you all. I wanted to let you know that I did a seasonal task. I was thinking we really need to be talking with Beth about these things because she's so good at them. Beth, I decided I was going to clean my couches, because there'd been a change in season. And I took a spray bottle with like Febreze, but it wasn't, it was homemade Febreze. And I just sprayed along the tops of them and then wiped them with a damp cloth. So the spray bottle I found very useful because it added, yeah, I thought that would wake you up, but because that added a nice aroma into the material. But boy, was I amazed how much dust I got off the top of my couches. Just the top, the shoulder heights things. And then I did sort of a quick wipe down of the actual cushions and stuff, and again, quite a bit on the armrests as well. So I was just going to challenge everybody else. Beth, if you have a better way of doing it, let me know. But I found not only was it quick, it definitely did the job. And by the way, I do the same thing when I have carpets on my staircase. When I want to, at least once a month, I go down my staircase with a wet rag and also some, Febreze type stuff. And I literally will wet it down and then wipe it through. I'm amazed what comes off my carpet on the stairs like that, just with a wet cloth. And in fact, I normally take a small bucket with 2 or 3 of them in there because, one gets dirty so quickly. So that was my seasonal. Did I do anything else that was seasonal? By the way, I'm loving this book of mine that you can rub things out on. I'm just trying to think what I had that was seasonal that I did. Oh, it wouldn't be there, would it? Because I would have. Oh, do any of you have a computer desk with wheels? This is a good one. Normally what I do is every season I turn my computer desk upside down and clean where the wheels are of my computer desk because it slides. But it was interesting. What I decided this time, because I was in a hurry, was I literally put a wet face cloth down under one wheel and then I rolled the cart. Oh no, I sprayed some vinegar and water onto the wheel, and then I just rolled it. I was amazed the dirt that came off. And then I literally put the wet face cloth under another wheel and I wheeled that one. And I found that there is one that collects the hair. I just want to tell you, it is scary how much of my hair the wheels of my computer desk catch. Anyway, but the good news was I cleaned all 4 wheels without having to get down on the ground or emptying off the whole of the table. Just be careful when you lift the table up. You only need to lift it up a little bit, but if you've got a full cup of coffee on, I've got a side table to my computer table where I keep my coffee. That more than once in my life I have lifted the table and said goodbye to the coffee. So I thought I'd just give you that little clue. Hope that works for you. And what else do we have? I think that's about it. All right, so Jodie's saying that her hospital table drives her mad collecting dog hair. I have the answer to it as well, Jodie. Do you want to hold on a second while I find the answer for you? Just hold on a sec. Okay, Jody. So this I got from Wish, and it was either free or a couple of bucks at most. And it is this. Can you see that? It's actually for cleaning the hair out of your hairbrush. But it is awesome for getting hair out of the wheels of your hospital table, or in my case, my computer table. It's like a little, they're wires and they're slightly bent at the end so that you can, just scrape hair out of your hairbrush. Does that make sense, Nada? You see it? But, literally, when I cleaned the wheels, Jody, I noticed that the hair actually started to protrude out. And I just leant down with this and I just pulled it out quietly. I was amazed how much came out. I didn't even have to get down on my hands and knees to do it. I was able to do it from just leaning down from my bed. So this was not a waste of money for me. I use it to clean my brush and a few other things in between. So I thought I'd just share that with you. It's my tip for the day on that one. It's an awesome, and it's ridiculous. Or make one. Make one with fine wire, and if you've got any wire at home, make some fine wire and just bend the ends so it has a little catchy bit on it, right? Just bend the end there. It looks like I might want to rebend mine because if you look at it, some of mine are not quite as, Anyway, it really works. It was one of those things where you thought, if it doesn't work, it's $2 or whatever. But it works. It was definitely not a waste of money. So there you go. It's a pleasure, Jody. And the funny thing is, I found that just by rolling the wheel on a wet face cloth, push that hair out on one wheel. So obviously there was hair on one wheel and not the others. So it's, it was surprising how much caught on that one wheel. You go, amazing. The other thing is actually, as I said, is to turn the table upside down and give it a really good clean. I do that about now once a year, where I literally will take everything off the computer table and then turn it upside down and really get all the crud off the wheels. All right, I'm out of here. So bye-bye for now, everybody. This is DearMamaSal saying, hey, have a great week. Remember to look after one another, but most of all, to look after yourselves. Bye-bye for now.